Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
A cheap alternative to an upscale listening experience. We are the audience of one show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you get your podcast from. I am Andrew, alongside the man who likes to use excuses to get what he wants. It's Dick. I've been to several bingo halls. Schisler. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Just recovering from biggest Texas festival.
Big ass Texas festival,
Yeah.
man. That's great. I'm glad you got to go out there.
Yeah.
Very jealous. Good turnout?
I mean, it was huge.
Big grounds.
Big grounds.
Yeah.
And I say that, I thought it was big. I'm not a festival person.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said, right?
Yeah. So I was very impressed with the whole flow of everything. There's so much to do there.
Right.
And I was like, I just want to see a couple bands. I don't want to hang out here and sleep here.
And you got to see Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah, I did. It was wonderful.
It was a dream
man.
come true.
It was. He was good, man.
Next up, chicken fights, but you can cross Dwight
Yeah.
Yoakam off the list.
And I got a new favorite, Billy Strings. I would encourage everyone to go see him live with his band.
Yeah.
It was trippy. It was fun. And they're all talented. It was cool. I like that kind of feel because it's just people aren't in mosh pits. It's
Right.
just these guys taking turns playing their instrument and
I
singing.
had never listened to Billy Strings until you mentioned him several months ago, and I went and did a little research and looked him up, and yeah, he's pretty good. If you like
Yeah.
that kind of country, bluesy, rock, kind of everything,
He
kind of
changes
mixed
it
together.
up.
Yeah.
Like at one point, and I guess the technology is different. Like I heard a guitar, an electric guitar.
Yeah.
And I look on the stage, I'm like, there's not an electric guitar up there. So I guess he did a pedal thing, and it changed his
yeah.
into electric guitar.
Or it could be somebody off stage playing.
I
as
don't
well.
know.
Who knows? Or
But
a
it
track.
really confused me.
Backtrack.
Because he's a bluegrass kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I hearing this electric guitar? And like, where is it? And so that was kind of trippy for
Well,
me.
good, man. I'm glad the weather held up long enough. I know it was pretty dicey at times.
Yeah. And
Whoever came in on Sunday kind of got the short end of the stick. It was nasty Sunday.
well, the unfortunate thing about that, I thought about a couple things while being there. Is one with the rain, like, because for example, we were with a crowd that did not want to be in the rain, and it was light drizzling.
I'd say that's probably the majority of people.
Well, I mean, like light drizzle. It's like a mist.
Are they made of sugar?
And I go, I don't care. I want to be out there. I don't really care.
It's like Woodstock 98, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Or
like
99, whatever it was.
even if it was pouring down rain, it's like you're here to. I
Yes,
paid,
the original Woodstock had rain too. My apologies.
Yeah, and I was enjoying it, and then the lady I was with was like, okay, she had a jacket. I gave her a rain jacket, and I was like, you can use that.
And the benefit of being out in the rain like that is you can just urinate on yourself and no one
Well,
will know.
I mean,
no one will know.
I didn't see any debauchery at all.
Oh, that's not a festival.
So I didn't see any of that.
That's sort of the point of a festival.
But yeah, overall, that was great. And then one thing I wanted to ask you.
Oh, yes,
So
ask
I was
away.
thinking about this. So we were leaving Dwight Yoakam, and we had to walk all the way across the fairgrounds to Billy Strings, and it's about a 5-minute walk. So we're seeing all these things, and she had to use the restroom, so she uses the restroom. I'm waiting outside, and I look over, and there's a guy selling cigars, and I was like, okay. So I walked over there, I bought a cigar, and I asked the guy, I was like, can I just smoke this wherever? And
I mean, you are outside.
Well, I know, but there's there's rules at certain places, especially in today's world. Like you, I think it's like if there's a restaurant, you can't smoke. You have to smoke a certain feet away from a restaurant.
10 feet from the door or something like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I lit the cigar because he goes, yeah, if you're gonna smoke, you gotta light it here. Like you can't just light it on your own. And I was like, oh, it's like a beer. You can't just like do that. And
Did you expect him to light it for you?
well, no,
Can you cut the tip and light it
No,
for me,
I
please,
lit
sir?
it. I lit
Thank
it.
you.
And well, anyway, we're walking over there. I'm smoking a cigar, and then I realized, oh, I've never really smoked a cigar at a festival. I probably shouldn't just go into the crowd with this
Who cares?
cigar and just blow it in people's faces. So we hung out in the back, and it was a great view because we were right there.
You're
at
such a
the
courteous
hill.
smoker.
And yeah, and it was great. I enjoyed that part the most because I was like, oh, this is the perfect dream. I almost wanted to get up on to the tech scaffolding. I'm like, can I just sit up there
Well, that would have been nice.
and just smoke a cigar and just watch the band?
Wouldn't have bothered anybody.
Yeah, it's called VIPPP. But yeah, now
It's called something.
yeah. Well, I was thinking about like etiquette at a festival.
Uh-huh.
So the girl I was with
Mm-hmm.
is short, and there were so many.
That was a requirement on your billboard.
Yes, but the big one too,
Right.
not the small billboard, not the personal ad in the
No,
paper.
no. We're talking the one on the side of the highway in
Yeah.
Sweetwater. Correct.
And what was funny was everyone's wearing cowboy hats,
As they should be.
so the views were
Obstructed.
like crazy for her. So part of I felt obligated to find a good angle.
No.
And I did. I found one, and we were perfect, right? And we're sitting there, and I was like, "You can see, right? You can see Dwight dance, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Perfect." So we're sitting there, and then there was a couple next to me, same scenario, where his wife or girlfriend, and they're probably in their 50s, 60s, around that age, and she's really short. And she's literally like, I'm not kidding you. I'm looking at her, and I'm like imagining from her perspective, all she sees is a guy's back and a big cowboy hat and like wide shoulders.
So when she's flashing Dwight, he can't even see
So
her.
exactly.
Gosh.
And I go, and I was like, that's
terrible.
And the husband, of course, is having a great time. He loves Dwight. He's singing along.
Yeah, because he's 6'2".
And she's just sitting there going like this. Like she doesn't even move her head. She isn't.
The play here is
she isn't doing this, right?
You're supposed to put him up on your shoulders.
Well, because usually if you want to see, you're kind of like doing this little number where you're going left to right with your head. And then I look, and where I found our spot, there's plenty of space by us. So I knocked him on the shoulder, and I was like, hey, if she wants to stand over here, she can see the stage. And she looks at me, and she goes, really? And I go, yeah. And so she comes over by us, and she's like smiling. And the guy goes, like probably 2 songs later, he goes, hey, man, do you want a beer?
Oh, cool.
And I looked at him, I was like, no, we're good. And he's like, I just want to say thanks for, helping my wife. She was literally complaining about that because people just kept shoving in front of her.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you're short.
Short people problems.
And but yeah, I was
Look
wondering.
at you.
I was worrying about the courtesy because there were so many times like people. I guess like tall people don't really think about it.
No.
And they just like one time, this one dude just got right in front of the lady I was with.
Happens to me all the time.
And I was like, how's this guy not realize he literally just stepped in front of somebody tiny, and he just didn't care. And then what I love is he left.
Well, that's the best part then.
And you're just kind of like, what's this guy doing? Like, But then one thing I loved, though, at the festival, they were selling chairs. And they were selling
that makes things even worse.
Well, they're selling like couch chairs. Like they looked like a little travel couch.
Nice.
With cushions, and that was a little bizarre to me.
Yeah. Well,
So-
especially if you sit down in one of those, you really won't be able to see.
Yeah. And overall, it was.
Well, did you get to see the Aurora Borealis there that night? Did you hear about all this?
Yeah, we were getting texts about it, and it was raining. I was like, I don't really see anything, whatever.
Well, if it's raining, you're definitely not going to get to see it.
So-
So what's weird about this, and I'm a little ticked, is I didn't even know this event was occurring. And I get down in my bed Saturday night, and I open up the phone, go through a little bit of Soch before I go to bed, and I'm seeing all these pictures of Aurora Borealis. And it's not from Antarctica. It's from here, locally. Oh, look at this. This is in Conroe. Oh, this is out by the lake. This is in Huntsville. This is in College Station. And I'm going, wait, what's going on here? So I step outside, and of course, I see absolutely nothing from my house in the woodlands. Kind of cloudy and trees everywhere. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Is this some kind of internet, ruse? The next day, I continue to scroll through Soch, as one might do on a Sunday morning, and see a bunch more pictures. And not only that, but I guess the app algorithm picked up on the fact that I'm looking at Aurora Borealis pictures, because now all of a sudden I start getting, don't forget, the Aurora Borealis is tonight. Don't forget, it's in 2 days. I'm like, well, this would have been information that I could have used days ago. I had no idea that
And
apparently
they
we were
say
getting this.
social media connects us. Bull.
I was like, man, I had no idea. So were you aware of this? I had heard that
I
there
don't
was
really care about it. Like we already
Well-
talked about the meteor or whatever.
Well,
What are the solar eclipse?
so that's
I'm
another
like,
thing
don't
is I
really
missed
care.
the solar eclipse, and now I've missed Aurora Borealis all within a 2-month time period. I'm feeling pretty gypped here, man.
I'm more excited about the dreams I have than that.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I did hear that there was going to be some kind of like geomagnetic event that could potentially cause interruption with cell phones and internet. I heard that, but I didn't translate that into being able to see, the northern lights in Texas. But apparently it was this big, massive magnetic event that pushed down to
You're
earth.
using a lot of words that I don't really care about.
First time since 2003. 3 I don't cares in the first 7 minutes of
Well,
the
I meant
show.
more of like,
Look at us go.
You could tell me all like, oh, just say pretty lights in the sky. I get it.
I also
You can say all this other stuff like
well, I mean, Aurora Borealis in Texas. Come on, that's pretty impressive. And some people said they couldn't
just say
see
pretty
it.
lights.
They could the pretty lights. They couldn't see it with their naked eyes, but when they turned their camera on, they were able to see it. And I don't know about that, but that was reported as well.
Well, I mean, if you were gonna talk about the world ending, I was getting really excited there. It's like, oh, this is a geometric event.
Geometric?
Or
Magnetic. It's a
geomagnetic event that will cause our hearing to go off and we can't hear anything. And I don't know how science works.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
So that's more exciting to me than pretty lights. Cool.
So are you a fan of the graduation? It is now graduation time. We're going to be going to the high school graduations and college graduations here soon, I imagine.
Yeah, what's funny is my oldest niece graduated last year, and that's when it really freaked me out.
That's when
Because
it became real, huh?
I remember when I first held her when she was born, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, now she's 18, and I was like, Jesus, that's times flew by with that, and she's
Yeah.
not even my daughter; she's just my niece. And and my other nieces now are
It waits for no
graduating.
man.
So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what my
But are you a fan of the whole graduation ceremony?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, they're kind of a
I
beating,
never
right?
wanted to be there. I got in trouble with my family because I kind of said, like, especially high school, I go, I don't want to go. Like, what is it? Like, it's after I've already graduated. Because usually when you're a senior and you graduate, I don't know if it's normal for you, but our graduation ceremony was after we graduated.
Yeah, I think technically they are.
Because technically
right?
I
You're
graduated.
done.
Yeah, like I graduated technically 2 weeks before school ended.
I think that's
So I didn't even go to school. I was like, why were you gonna make me go?
Yeah, I
Like,
know there's some people that don't even go to their own graduation because they don't like them, and they
So-
are kind of a beating. I mean, you sit around waiting and waiting and waiting for that one name to be called. It's kind of like making love, Dick. There's a lot of waiting around for that
So-
one big moment.
At graduation,
It's
I
just-
had
there's
to,
not much
my
to it.
parents were like, "You're going," and I'm like, "Okay." So I wore a Darth Vader mask, and I had a great time with that. And my parents were real excited about that.
Yeah, I bet. Now, did you wear it on top of your head, or
No,
did
I
you
wore
wear it over
was,
your face?
So I found it was like a
my
$60 mask, like a legit 2-piece. Like it had the helmet and then it had the mask. So you put the mask on and then you slide the helmet on.
Oh
and
yeah,
latch
that's
it,
the real deal.
And then it had a voice box. So I had my black robe on with that, and it was great. And I was talking with the voice box on, and I was trying to get on the microphone.
You must have gotten so many ladies in high school.
Hell, I was having a great time. But
Did you walk up there with it
yeah,
on?
yeah.
And they allowed you to do this.
Well, you couldn't really do anything about it.
I mean, they could tell you to take it
Because
off.
I put it under my chair, so no one knew it was really there.
Oh my God.
And so when it came time, I just put it on real quick, and then I walked up, and they're like,
Does this not surprise me at all?
and yeah, and I was like, there you go. And then when I graduated college, I remember not wanting to go because it was stupid, and I wanted to get out of there. I was like, why do I have to go? Like I'm
Yeah,
done.
they're so long. Yeah,
And my grandparents came, so I had to go,
of course.
which is understandable. But what I remember is right when this is what I love about this graduation thing. So you wait your name. I'm a Schisler,
Yeah,
so I'm like
exactly.
very end, and then when you don't even walk back to your seat. The way they did it, like you
Okay.
walk out of the Coliseum and then you're done.
Oh, you just walked right outside, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, and it wasn't even in the thing.
Yeah, it is interesting if you've got a last name that starts with A or B, your excitement is over there right at the beginning, and then you're just like, oh my God, I got to sit here and listen to a bunch of names of kids I don't care about
And
for the next hour and a half.
And what was hilarious was I was in.
Just waiting for that one kid to bring out a Star Wars
They did
mask.
it by I forgot the departments. They did it by departments,
Ah, okay.
so it wasn't like a really big
Sure.
whatever. But so our department was joined with like some of the other computer science people, and it was like none of my friends were there. No, like the only people who were there were my grandparents, and my mom, and I'm like, I hope that was.
Who
worth
did you
it.
expect? Your throngs of fans?
Yeah. All right.
I mean, that's usually all that goes to those
I
things.
know.
is
I
your
was sitting there. I was
family.
like, "This is so stupid." And then, because I felt bad because like I know my grandfather and I were really great friends, and I know like we think the same way. And I remember afterwards we had like a little graduation party at our house with all of our friends and the people who were in other departments. And I look at him. I was like, "So, do you think driving all the way to Abilene was worth 45 minutes of your time?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Normally I would say no, but." It was really nice seeing you up there. I'm like, God damn it.
that's
Can I
so
just
sweet.
can I just hate this? Can I just not want to be here? And then I started drinking
Sweet.
heavily, and
Yeah.
it was a great time.
As one usually does at a graduation.
Well, I didn't even take off the robe for like a day. I was just left it on.
Slept in it?
I was like, whatever. Like I paid for it. I gotta get some good use out of it. Right?
I think you need to wear it next week just for the hell of it.
I don't know what happened to it. I think I rolled around the mud or something.
Of course you did. We haven't talked about the Tom Brady roast. Did you see or any? Did you watch
it live. I watched
did you?
it live.
Okay, yeah. And what did you think?
I thought it was great.
Right? Roasts, man, I don't know what it is about them. I guess it's because there's so much political correctness in comedy these days, but roast, it seems like anything goes.
Anything goes.
And I didn't watch it live. I've seen a lot of the clips afterwards, and man, I have to admit, pretty funny. There were some pretty good lines in there. And that, was it the Jeff Ross? Is that one of the hosts? Is it just me, or I only see that dude at roasts?
Well, he's the roast master.
He's the roast master.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he have a career, stand-up career outside of this?
Well, he.
Or is this mostly all
if
he
I
does is
remember
roast?
correctly, he was a writer and a comic, and then he became, because roasts have been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't necessarily televised, and he, I think at the time, especially
basically the 60s is when it started.
Yeah. Well, there's a club that
not the Friars Club.
it might be the Friars Club. There's a club, and I think he took over something.
Okay.
Took over it, and then it became a shtick. It was like even when you go to his comedy shows, he would do a certain segment of roasting, and it would either be an audience member or he had a cool stand-up routine. I forgot who it was with. I think it was Dave Attell, and they would do there was like a two-micer kind of combo thing. So like they're both up on stage, and they would give each other a hard time, and then they give the audience a hard time, and then like they would do mic bumps. So it was a good zinger. They bump mics. So it was all good fun.
I have to admit, it is kind of a weird job or weird way to make your living at the expense of other people. Like, it is literally your job to denigrate other people. And the better you are at it, the more you get paid. You know, it's kind of a weird gig, right?
Well, that, and considering that he's working off material that isn't original in the sense of it's about a person. So he's not just sitting there coming up with good jokes and then he's like, oh, I can use all these jokes against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
No, you need to create a specific set of jokes for Tom Brady because there's so much to make fun of. Like
It's definitely a craft.
Well, I mean, like, did you not even watch the thing? You just saw clips?
Oh, yeah, but I've seen a lot of the clips, yeah.
Okay, because they were going hard about his divorce, and I was sitting there going, like, I wonder how I would feel about that. Because I think it'd be hilarious. But then again, it's like, it's not, I don't know anything about Tom Brady besides he's really good at football.
Would want to do it.
But, like, they were saying, like, I guess she cheated on him?
I mean, that's the implication with her jiu-jitsu trainer, yeah.
So I was sitting there going, like, yeah, you got to keep getting reminded of that. That's a great time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually the way it happened, but that, of course, it makes for good jokes that way. But, again, if I'm Tom Brady, I'm thinking 5 minutes into that thing, what did I do? Why did I set myself up for this?
No, I think it's something.
But it was funny, man. I like them. Roasts, more of them. I like them.
Yeah. There's a Donald Trump one.
Oh, my God.
The Dave Franco one's really good.
Yeah.
And then, there's some good ones. So there's some pretty good roasters. Because if you, there's a podcast that's kind of in a similar roast style. It's a lot of fun. It's called Kill Tony.
Okay.
And it's that Tony Hinchcliffe, he's one of the roasters. And basically it's live on stage and they bring out different comics and then it's not your typical show. And so if you like people making fun of other people, it's great.
Okay. Well, good. I may have to check it out. All right, buddy, you ready to kick off the show?
I feel like we already did.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's kick it off twice.
Well, let me, to close the opening segment, well, how did you feel about Netflix having live programming?
I think it's just the way of the future, to be honest with you, man. It's just broadcast is what is broadcast anymore anyways.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it's going to go through Netflix. I mean, it's kind of like Amazon now having NFL games on Thursday nights.
Well, that makes sense because all NFL games need to be live. See, what I was thinking about with this...
Yeah, true. It doesn't have to be live.
Yeah, because the roast doesn't have to be live.
No, it does not.
And so, but they made a big deal about it being live. So
I guess it's because, in theory, there will be no editing at all. That's why you promote something as live.
Well, with Netflix, they can curse. So they were cursing. They were doing whatever they want, saying whatever they want, which I thought was great.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I got a picture I may want you to show for this first story, but this is pretty funny. A zoo in East China has come under fire for using deceptive PR gimmicks to attract crowds after it dyed dogs black and white to look like pandas. Now, apparently these dogs are chows. Have you...
Chow chow?
Chow chow. You ever seen Chow Chows before?
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of cool dogs. They're known for having like the spotted tongue, I think, and I think they've got a really nice personality. But in Japan, China, they're kind of known for their pandas, and they're a big attraction. Well, I guess there's a shortage of them at the moment, or they've lent them all out to other zoos, and they don't want to disappoint the zoo goers, so they have painted these Chow dogs to look just like, and they kind of do look like the bear. I mean, what say you? It looks pretty good. I don't know at first glance that I would have known anything different, but
Well, I would have been weirded out if it didn't sit. If it just like walked around like that, like that's a dog. Well, what blows my mind about this though, I don't know how often you go to the zoo, but
I might go more often if they did stuff like this.
The zoo always has closed exhibits for X amount of reasons. It's like, oh, they're getting clean.
Yeah, right.
Or,
Yeah, the elephants aren't out today because he's got a bowel
so
issue.
why not just put a little sign up and just
Can't,
say,
man, it's China. China's always got to ramp up the bit. And again, pandas are what they're known for. Well, it says inevitably visitors will feel disappointed and being deceived upon discovering the truth. It says, however, the zoo has denied it was a fraudulent scheme. So they're just trying to say, well, I mean, look, we were just doing this for funsies. We didn't really think that you guys would think
that's what you wanted.
These are pandas, right? I mean, come on.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think this is pretty awesome. It says they're not charging extra. It was just a way to display what we offer to the visitors. Instead of a picture, we'll just use a dog that's painted.
Have you ever seen?
They're kind of cute,
This
though.
is kind of completely separate, but
right.
in a similar way. Have you ever seen the competition dog grooming things?
Competition dog grooming?
Yeah, like the art grooming.
I would imagine the poodle is very much used in those type of competitions because their hair is so pliable, right?
I'll
I mean,
show you.
you
You're
can shave it
you're
in
gonna
all
lose your mind.
kinds
here.
of different shapes and colors and everything else.
Here,
on
I'm gonna pull.
poodles.
I'm gonna see if this YouTube video. The internet today has been very spotty, so just to let some listeners onesies know if I'm trying to pull something up, it's like.
I'm actually on my phone right now, Wi-Fi, because I couldn't even get a signal in here today. So.
Well,
If I
imagine
get text and everything else. My apologies.
I don't really know, but when this thing loads, I'm going to show this to you because you're going to lose your mind.
Yeah, I probably will. Apparently, there were signs beside the enclosure that made it clear that these were, quote, panda dogs and not the actual breed, but this was not apparent to all visitors, and they came under fire because of it. Everybody's outraged.
All right, here, let me show you this.
Outraged.
So this is...
All right, so you are pulling up a competitive dog grooming, I guess, exhibition of some sort?
Well,
Never seen
this one is just the groomer. So I want to show you. I wonder if they're going to show you pictures. I don't want to do the interview.
Oh my. Okay, so.
So you got.
Oh wow! This
Yeah,
is insane.
I'm telling you, like it's.
They've got this one dog that looks exactly like a giraffe. I'm sure you would try and clothesline it. That looks like probably a Labradoodle. They've got him with spots and everything.
They had one that looked like a Pokemon.
Yeah, this is it's actually awesome.
So.
Oh man.
This one's Santa wearing an elf.
And I guess that's their own
outfit.
fur, just dyed different colors.
Yeah, they just cut it and he dyes it, dude. I can't believe you've never seen this.
Oh, no, I have not.
So
I mean, I've seen some of this stuff done to dogs. I just didn't know there was a competition around it, although I shouldn't be all that surprised.
Well, it's funny. When I saw this, I was like, is that kind of mean? Or then again, like, dogs have no souls, so who cares?
They all go to heaven.
I love saying that to people who love dogs. Like, I love
them
dogs.
off, yeah.
But when you say... like, oh, they don't have souls, people lose their minds because there's literally a movie back in the late 80s, early 90s where it's called like All Dogs Go to Heaven. So it's like clearly everyone our age has seen it or know of it. They're like, no, they do. It's in a cartoon. But yeah, I can't believe you've never seen that.
No, I have not.
It gets even crazier, man.
I bet.
Some of those things, like that giraffe one, that looked really good.
That was awesome. Yeah, it looked really, really sharp. Yeah. It looked like a mini giraffe, just with a short neck. I meant to put this story first, and I got it out of order, but did you hear the crazy commencement speech at Ohio State over the weekend, I guess, or maybe it was last week, by Chris Pan? He's a social media influencer of some sort, and it got my attention because I saw it with the headline of Worst Commencement Speech of All Time. And at the time, last week, when I was putting this show together, I was able to get the full video, and I was going to play audio from this, but now I can't seem to find a clip that doesn't have other people talking over it, or it's shortened, this, that, and the other. but it got a lot of attention. I don't know if you were aware of it. It's hilarious. So it's 18 minutes long, and this guy goes out there, and basically he wrote this speech while on ayahuasca. And, of course, you are very familiar with ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked at length about Aaron Rodgers emerging from the cave after his 4-day bender on ayahuasca, right?
Yeah, so it's funny is I did a 4K bender in a cave and came out a football player.
Unreal, isn't it?
So
he decided, no, he came out a football player as well. He didn't retire. But he's getting a lot of
but he
attention.
didn't know if he wanted to be a football player.
Oh, that's true. He still had to think about it a little bit.
But I came out wanting to be a football player.
I bet it didn't tell him he was going to tear his Achilles within the first 4 seconds of the season.
Well, I don't think that was his fault, was it?
I mean,
Well,
whose
didn't
fault
someone
was
hit him?
it?
Didn't someone hit him?
Not really.
Oh, so it was one of those.
He's just
oh,
I mean, he was getting tackled, but it wasn't much of anything. But the speech is getting a lot of attention because it was very abnormal. Went out there and had people do sing-alongs to Four Non-Blondes. He performed magic tricks with some of the administrative people behind him. Had people do some sort of like Navy SEALs breathing technique.
So I don't know who that is.
Touting Bitcoin. I mean, it was hilarious. It was out there. And so I didn't know who it was either, but after it was done, I kind of thought, man, it was really good.
But why would you want to go to a graduation?
Only because we're talking about it. No one ever talks about commencement
Yeah, they
speeches,
do.
right? Unless it's really good like this. It was awesome.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to look up who this guy
Well,
is.
and again,
but he is a graduate.
Yes,
So
1999 alum of Ohio State University. Yes, the Ohio State University.
why is it called the Ohio?
I don't know. That's what they always say, though.
Oh, is that like the University,
University,
Texas or whatever they do?
Right, yeah.
I love that. I love people who do
We
that.
probably wouldn't be able to play the audio anyways with the internet the way it is, but so it's a good thing I wasn't depending on it. But onesies, do yourself a favor and look up the Chris Pan Ohio State commencement speech. It is shocking.
Okay, I want to show you
appalling.
this. It is loading. So I'm visiting his website, and this is the first thing you see.
Oh yeah, he's milking it
He's
for
milking it.
everything it's worth. On his website, it's got a picture of him at the commencement speech.
So you know what his mission is? Look at this.
There's
You're gonna
no
love
telling.
this. His mission is to help 1 billion people find emotional, spiritual, and financial freedom. We will heal, learn, and build a new earth together. Oh, I love this guy.
New Earth.
Using evidence-based proven approaches such as singing and intention setting. What? And we will put theory into practice to be the change we want to see.
Yep. And he was implementing it there on 70,000 students and faculty and visitors.
Oh,
It
so
was basically just one big self-promotion for himself. And I think at one point, everyone started booing him when he mentioned Bitcoin. And so towards the end there, he said, to make up for it, I'm giving everyone one free bracelet. Apparently he makes like bracelets or something. If you I guess, send your email address and your information. So he's basically mining these people for their information right there at the commencement. It's brilliant.
Well, I mean,
It's brilliant.
it's all about the approach, right? You shouldn't say free. Like, hey, I want to give everyone a bracelet here. You don't use the word free because people now free is turned into a negative term, especially when you're at a commencement speech.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I do like how he posted that on his website. That's pretty strong. I still don't know what he does. I guess you just hire him to talk.
He's a social media influencer, enough said.
man.
Can you imagine the guy who lost out to him in the commencement speech competition?
I would never want to.
Because I think those things are probably fairly sought after. If you are a local alum that's done well, you want to go and speak in front of your class, and you lose to this guy. A teenager was rescued after he fell into an abandoned missile silo in Colorado on Sunday. Did you hear about this, man? This is nuts. But apparently this teenager fell approximately 30 feet into an abandoned missile silo in Deer Trail, approximately blah, blah, blah. What I didn't realize, I guess, is there's like missile silos all over the place.
Yeah.
There's apparently around 3,700 nuclear warheads that are buried in the ground, scattered around the United States.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Well, this one was abandoned. It was part of like the a 1960s era program, and I think they had shuttered it in sometime in the 1980s, and it had been abandoned. Well, this group of juveniles, one of them was over 18. This is the one that jumped in there, I guess. And I guess they didn't realize either what it was or how deep the hole was. but he went down there and suffered some severe injuries. What I think is kind of funny, an insult to injury, he received a summons for a third-degree criminal trespass, and the juveniles were released to their parents while he was in the hospital. Legs are all broken
like that
up.
idea.
It's like, yeah, by the way, here's
Yeah,
your
I wonder what the
criminal
worst
trespassing.
scenario is when in that scenario. I mean, like you're like in the hospital and you're like, broken legs, broken arms, and it's like you finally come to, and they're like, "Oh, I hope you're okay, John."
I hope you're okay.
And then
By
it's
the
like,
way.
but there's something we need to talk about. Where's the child?
It said the silo was part of the Titan I missile system that had 6 installations in Colorado, according to the Colorado Department of Public Health.
Yeah.
The system was designed to carry intercontinental ballistic missiles and was decommissioned in 1965. Okay, that's when it was decommissioned. I thought that's when it was actually put into working order, but apparently not. But obviously, this raises concerns to me that there's basically these old missile silos out there. Now, it was behind a locked gate, and these hoodlum kids did go out there and bust down the gate or at least go through a locked area, but still, seems kind of concerning. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
Dick, would you be interested in going on a nude cruise?
No.
A nude cruise is due to set sail in February next year from Miami around the Caribbean. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
I don't care.
I don't know. I think I said it one way until the movie series came out, and now I say it a different way.
I got the Caribbean, man.
But passengers must follow specific rules about nudity, which is really good, I suppose. You can't just have a free-for-all out there. It can take up to 2,300 passengers.
What, no butt plugs?
Well, this is not a, quote, sex lifestyle cruise, Dick. This is meaning a swingers club. There's a no sex policy. In fact, I think there's a no.
What I like about that
no
is
erection policy.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, that'd be the funniest thing, walking around like, what do I do? Can't hide my.
Would you like to take a guess at the name of the boat? I love this. Very
The Love Boat?
It's called the Big Nude Boat.
Okay.
And at first I thought, come on, be more creative. But I actually kind of like it.
Well, I mean, there are people out there. I mean, nudist colonies have been around for how long?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
There's a market for it. Now, the thing I'm curious about are the employees working on the boat.
So they have to wear clothes. They are not nude themselves. So I guess if you're there at the buffet line, you don't have to worry about them dragging their nuts through the through the taco salad,
Yeah.
but maybe the other guests will.
Well, I imagine there's rules for the naked and the food.
No, I think you can be naked there, but this is one rule, though. It says, at all times, passengers must avoid putting their naked butt on any surface. So you have to have a towel or something sitting down so that you're not transmitting any butt funk from person to person.
Here comes the butt funk.
It says it has specific rules about nudity, including strictly forbidding any photos of passengers without their consent. And it says, again, they are stressing that this is different from the adult lifestyle cruises or so-called swinger cruises, which attract passengers specifically looking for a, quote, more sexually adventurous vacation. They just want to get out and hang out, bro.
Huh.
Yeah. Bare Necessity said that social nudity is not a sexual activity, and its policies prohibit fondling, inappropriate touching, lingerie, fetish wear, or excessive genital jewelry. What defines excessive genital jewelry? What's
You want me to look it up?
What's a tasteful amount? Yes, if the internet were working here, we could look up what a tasteful amount of genital jewelry is. But I like that. You can't have excessive. So I guess that's your BP you were talking about. And that's probably considered.
Fair enough.
But would that be enough to cover up your rear from sitting down
I
with
don't
your
know.
BP, right?
I don't know. I like it, though.
I can tell you the vast majority of the people on these cruises are probably not people that you care to actually see nude.
Well, I don't think
I have a feeling.
Well, see, everyone says that about nudist colonies or nudists. It's
But you know better. You know different. Don't
Well,
you?
they don't care.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right.
They're not going, like, you don't go to a nudist colony to see nude people.
Do you?
People go because they want to just be free of clothes.
And I think it's typically a little bit older crowd that does that because the older you get, the less you care about it. And
Yeah.
so they're the most people, the most, I guess, prevalent demographic on those ships. And typically,
You know me.
you probably don't want to see Grandpa dragging
I want to
that
go
around.
before. I want to do the Adam and Eve thing. Let's do it before the apple.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, you don't remember that?
Yeah,
the story of Adam
fell
and Eve?
Well, I mean, I know the story of Adam and Eve. But I
Before
don't-
they were naked, and then when she ate the apple,
Oh,
she
then
goes,
they became aware of
"Oh,
their
you have
nudity.
to- you have
That's
to-
right.
You have to cover yourself."
Sorry, you're right. I didn't put two and two together. I forgot that you're a biblical scholar. This is a cool story. Oh, wait, how are we doing on time? We probably need to go to a break, don't we?
We do whatever we want.
Awesome. We do what we want here. This is really cool. At 7 p.m. on June 1st in Colonial Heights, Virginia, a first pitch will be delivered in a baseball game.
Cool.
Okay, like millions have done before it. However, the sun will then go down, at which point a standard summer collegiate league contest will be transformed into a first-of-its-kind experience, cosmic blacklight baseball. This sounds amazing.
Does this have to do something with the eclipse?
No,
Okay.
no, but I mean, it's similar to that, I suppose, in that there won't be any lights. But the Tri-City Chili Peppers, which is an awesome-sounding name for a baseball team, and the Greenbrier Knights will swap out their usual colors for pink and green neon jerseys and play ball in a game entirely illuminated by black lights.
Cool.
The concern I have here is not necessarily for the players, although that ball better be lit up because it's zinging at you at 100 miles an hour. I'm kind of worried about the people in the stands. There ain't going to be no lights there, and they're going to be able to police people from doing nefarious things in the stands, especially if you got black lights on. Oh, man, you hope you washed your britches good before you got into that thing. That's
Yeah, it's a
gross.
little odd.
I think it's going to be cool, though. Would you like to go to a blacklight baseball game?
Not really. I imagine that gets old real fast.
I don't know. I think I'd want to do it at least once.
What, I mean, like to play?
Yeah, play or watch anything.
That would get old real fast.
You think?
Yeah.
What kind of activities you want to do in the blacklight?
Well,
Nick?
they do a blacklight thing at the pickleball place here in Montgomery.
I got smacked in the face without black lights. I can't imagine.
You're not very athletic, are you?
Well, it was a ricochet, if you must know. Somebody on my own team had hit his paddle and came sideways and hit me in the face. I had a wiffle-like mark on my eyelid. It hurt like hell.
There was something I wanted to show you. There's this new golf thing, wiffle ball golf. Have you seen that?
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but wiffle balls and golf, I mean, that's been around forever to use for practice.
Well, no, they have you can get a thing for your house and set up holes. And it's like there's rules. There's different rules. It's like if you hit
Tell me
if
more.
you hit the bucket or whatever, there's like I don't know what it's made out of, but it's like a piece of plastic bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hit it, you get your score. But if you hit it into it, you get your -1. So there's not like
Cool.
it's not like actual golf. It's like
Okay, it's
thing.
a golf adjacent game, but using wiffle ball, so you can play inside.
You can play anywhere.
I guess you could, in theory. You could play at the biggest Texas Fest if you wanted to. All right, man, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, Dick, we're going to talk about choices.
Have you seen those people play the neighborhood golf?
Choices. Neighborhood golf.
Have you seen those?
No.
Those YouTube folks?
No.
Where basically, like, apparently they're all friends in the neighborhood, and so they actually set up golf holes.
It's like Dude Perfect.
Oh, no, it's just like they're just playing golf in the neighborhood, and they're talking about how many things they break.
Yeah,
And
with
it's
real
part-
golf balls?
Oh yeah, so it's part of the understanding.
Sounds like a good way to get your ass beat.
Oh
by a
no,
neighbor.
it's
Yeah.
like a street thing. Everyone in
Yeah.
the street's involved.
You dinged my Audi. It's go
Well, all
time.
the cars are gone.
Oh,
No, it's
boring.
organized. It's like legit organized,
I think-
and they pay for everything. That, but like it's the understanding. If you sign up, there's like an entry fee, and
my
then
God.
I gotta find it real quick.
Well, we'll find it when we come back from the break. When we come back, we're going to talk about choices. Dick, are you making the right choice? Audience One Show. We'll be right back, guys. Audience of One, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5. Listen to the brain droppings of local hosts, me, Andrew Belshner, along with the jewel of Montgomery County radio, Dick Schisler. Topical musings, news stories, oddities, or just weird conversations that we normally have with ourselves, all mixed together with the occasional guest. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
Welcome back to Audience of One on Lone Star Community Radio. Here weekly Wednesdays at 10 a.m.
It's like somebody wound you up slowly.
And Yeah, cool. We're back. We're on the second part of the show. Don't forget, you can always email us at audienceofoneshow@gmail.com for your ideas, comments, concerns for Andrew. And
concerns for Andrew.
Concerns for
We're
Andrew.
concerned about Andrew.
Yeah. So it is the middle of May.
Indeed.
And
gosh, it's flying by already. This year is flying by.
Let me ask you something. I was thinking about this the other day because you have a couple kids. And one's already graduated
that I know of,
and you have another one that's somewhere getting near. After the first one, do you really even care anymore?
I'm not sure I cared during, so much less after the first. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean after the first one?
Like,
you're talking about graduation?
Like I remember,
what are you talking about?
I remember when I graduated and we were going to college, and my mom started crying, and she was hugging me, and I was like, "Mom, I'm the youngest of 6. You've done this 5 other times. Get over yourself."
Okay. Are you mean like someone leaving the house and growing older? Is it different with the second one than the first one? Is that what you're asking?
Because it's like I imagine your scenario, like especially from the perspective of your wife. It's like the first one going, you're like, oh no, and like don't, and then now it's like, when's this other one gonna get out of here?
You might be onto something.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no, I guess. Yes and no.
Well, I mean, it's a tug of war.
It's a give and take. For me, it's boy and girl, so it's a little different.
Oh, that's right.
It's a little different. Sorry out there to be gender specific, everyone, but it is different.
You're a daddy's
between
girl?
Boys and girls.
Are you a daddy's girl?
What? I couldn't be a daddy's girl.
Yeah, your daughter likes you more because, like, isn't that the thing?
Yeah, but you wouldn't call me.
Right?
Yeah, but you wouldn't call me a daddy's girl.
What are you?
Girl dad.
No. What's
Hashtag
it called?
girl dad.
Am I wrong?
I don't know, man. I would say look it up, but we can't because the internet's so terrible.
I tell my dad all the time, I'm like, if I had to choose Sophie Choice, it's gonna be mom. Like, that's just the way it's gonna be. Sorry, Dad.
Oh man. Let's move on.
You didn't like that? All right, Sophie's Choice time with Andrew. All right, who would you choose, Andrew? No, I always love those scenarios.
Speaking of kids, did you ever go back and try a food that you remember really liking as a child, but as an adult?
Yes, candy.
You're like, this isn't very good.
Like certain candies.
Yeah?
Well, I can't like specifically say which one. Like maybe licorice, maybe? Actually, it's the opposite. Like licorice is not bad today. Mm-hmm. Back then, I was like, this is a waste of space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why would anybody eat this?
No.
I'm a fan of licorice myself as
so,
well.
Yeah, that's the way
I made a list here of 3 things that I really liked as a kid that as an adult, I've gone back and tried them, and they're not so good. And leading off my list is Vienna sausage. Did you ever eat Vienna sausage as a kid?
Canned sausage?
Yeah. Vienna sausages, to me, look like hot dogs if they're on meth, right? They're just kind of smaller versions of themselves, shrunk up, not kind of pale.
They remind me of hot dogs that were just left in the refrigerator in water.
But as a kid, I thought they were pretty good. A few years ago, I tried some because we had some in the pantry because the daughter was eating them, and I'm here to report those things are terrible.
Yeah.
Like really bad. But as a kid, you loved them. Number 2, Beanie Weenies. Did you ever eat Beanie Weenies? Beanie Weenies are exactly what you think about.
A hot dog and the...
That's right. Canned beans with little slices. I used to love them. True story. About 2 months ago, I'm in H-E-B. I see a little can of Beanie Weenies. I said, I think I'm going to try these. I remember I hadn't seen them in years. It was a little tiny can. Heated it up. Was so excited. Oh, my God. What's crazy about Beanie Weenies, none of it's good. The beans aren't good beans. The hot dogs are of terrible quality.
You're talking about the brand Beanie
terrible.
Weenies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand. I'm sure there are knockoff brands.
I mean, you can make your own and probably be delicious.
Right. I would think you could probably do your own. It would be a lot better. But the canned Beanie Weenies, not very good. And this last one might be a little controversial, but SpaghettiOs, man. They weren't nearly like... I remember those being a dream food as a kid. It's like, oh, SpaghettiOs, these are great. They're not very good.
Well, any soup is not very good.
Oh, I love soup. And would you consider...
Canned soup?
Would you consider that soup, though?
Well, I mean, in my mind...
To me, it was really sour. I was like, oh, have they changed the formula? What's going on here? I don't know. Maybe my palate has changed. But it's a little depressing to know that some of my childhood foods that I loved so much are actually pretty crappy.
Well, like what I love, speaking of childhood foods and everything, like so bagel bites were pretty big.
Yeah.
And what's hilarious to me is as a kid, my mom would buy those in case like, oh, she's doing something after school. So it's like, oh, you want to have a snack or something, you eat a bagel bite.
Mm-hmm.
And me being me, I just followed instructions, and every time they would never be perfect. You know, like one side's really cooked and the other side's like and like rock hard. Or whatever.
Yeah, you chip a tooth on it.
And then I remember one time it was
like the thing's like 1.5 inches wide. How does it go from being such unevenly distributedly cooked?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I remember when I was like in college, I bought them, and I like perfected cooking them.
Yeah, you
and
did.
I was like, okay,
50% power for a minute and a half.
well, it's like this is how it was intended to be. But you know, me being 12 years old couldn't like it. I didn't, and that's why I love. What are the pizza bites? Is that what they're called?
Pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls.
Yeah.
What I love about pizza rolls is me being who I was. I wanted to play a game, so I just put it on for like 5 minutes or whatever, and just left. So every time I come back, it'll just be exploded everywhere. So what I ended up doing with them is I just put them in a bowl, and then so they blow up in the bowl, and I just use a fork.
If you heat up pizza rolls for too long, they look like a pillowcase without the pillow inside of it.
And that's
all
what,
the,
that's
all
what
the
I ended up
stuffing's
doing.
come
I
out.
just kind of like you put a piece of foil,
flimsy.
not foil. You put something over it so it all is in there, and it's like there we go. I can just.
You ever put a piece of foil in the microwave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You ever put a light bulb in the microwave?
No, what's that do? Does it just blow up?
No, it lights up.
Oh, that's
It's
stupid.
pretty amazing.
That's
What do you
lame. I
mean?
want something to blow up.
I mean, I'm sure if you left it in there long enough, it would. But
You know what we used to do?
it turns
So,
on. It like
no,
literally turns on. It's
My
great.
cousin used to. He was a Marine, and he would always bring us MREs.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard?
Meals ready to eat.
You ever heard of MRE bombs?
That's usually what happens after you eat an MRE, right?
No, if you eat MRE, you're pretty clogged up because it's.
Oh, it's
like,
the opposite.
It's,
Then when you
pure
finally
calories.
go, it's a bomb.
So what it is, with the heating element.
Okay. Yeah.
comes with it.
Yeah. The sterno. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what you do is you get like a. You know, back in the day, they had the giant Gatorade bottles and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you get one of those.
Oh, no.
And you put it in there and you pour water and you shake it, and you throw it. And it's like, whoa, blows up. And if you want to get real dangerous,
Yeah, dude. Tell me more.
you get glass.
Oh God, would it
It
shatters the
blow
glass?
up.
No, that's dangerous, man.
It's nuts.
Especially if you go to throw it and it slips and it doesn't go very far.
Well, it takes like 3 minutes.
Oh, you
got
got to run off. Okay,
Like,
well
you
then what's
got-
the point of throwing it then?
Because it's fun to throw stuff.
So you just throw it. Well, then if it doesn't explode in the air and it's
Well, you
glass,
can try
it
to
just
time
shatters.
it. You can time it.
Yeah, hold that
Well,
thing.
not with glass, but like with the because you can see it expanding the plastic. And
Right.
Those are a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I got to pull up the video. We've been
If you
sitting
can,
here chatting.
What video?
The video of us. There's.
Oh, sorry. We're back on. Okay, man. As teased, we're going to talk about choice. Generally speaking, Dick, do you like to have more or less options, choices? Generally speaking,
More.
You're a more guy. I'm kind of a less guy, and I think, like for instance, as a for instance, TV channels. I find myself doing this because there's so many channels. I'll just sit there and surf, and never really land on something. But as a kid, when you had 3 channels, because that's all there was, you always found something to watch.
That's not the right way. You're looking at it the wrong perspective.
Okay. Perspect me.
Okay, so like for me, when I watch television, I didn't just watch television to surf. I was like, I want to watch this program that's on at 3 p.m. And then after that program's done, I turn it off. I never like searched. Never felt myself like that.
But I'm talking about now.
No, even now.
You turn the TV on.
Even now, I'm like, I'm not just watching randomness. I'm like, oh, I want to watch the sports
So
show.
you know what you're going to watch every time before you turn the
like
TV
right
on.
now, I watched because I read a lot about what's coming out, whatever. I watched the X-Men '97 cartoon, which is like a remake or like a reimagining of the early '90s X-Men cartoon.
Correct.
And it was really good. And I was like, oh, and
Nice.
now I'm just watching X-Men cartoons now. And the girl's kind of like, so this is what you're doing with your time?
This is it, huh? This is what I got to
This
deal
is
with?
what you're doing with your time? I'm like, actually, I haven't watched the show in 20 years, so now I'm getting to check it out.
I found myself doing this on the airplane, too. Now there's in-flight entertainment, and you're scrolling through what seems to be like 50 to 70 different movies, and I'll spend 20 minutes looking and never end up watching something. Whereas before, there would be the in-flight movie. And you didn't have a choice. They just played... whatever movie, like Beaches or something, you had to watch it. Fried green tomatoes, and you liked it.
I had this thought, because I understand where you're going with this, or with options. And so, or not, actually, this is a completely changing subject.
Well, don't change it too much, because that's our next topic.
Well, because I like playing video games. So if I'm alone and I'm like, oh, I've finished all my chores, did all my, the mental chores, did the emails, all that stuff, like, I'll play a video game.
Okay.
And a lot of people look at that going like, that's just a waste of time. Like, what are you doing that? Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, you couch surf. So it's like, what? Like, you just watch random TV shows. Like, I'm not.
Okay, well, maybe that was a bad example. A menu at a restaurant. If the menu is too large, oftentimes, I don't
like
know,
any
man.
Mexican restaurant?
Yeah, and if you think about it, like Cane's, very successful restaurant, they have 3 things on the menu, and it's basically the same thing, just in a couple of different variants.
Well, I mean, like, I like options because I already know what I want to eat. Because I always start with the protein. Like, what's the protein I want to eat? Do I want shrimp? Do I want, tofu or whatever? Mm-hmm. And that's where I get my decision-making starts there. And then, but like when I go to a Mexican restaurant, I know exactly what I want. I want a variety of stuff. Or tacos.
Well, then, see, you've mentally shortened the menu.
Yeah.
So you're not bothered if it's longer or not because you already know what you're going to get. Yeah. Well, I thought this was interesting. About 20 years ago, researchers decided to do a study to study how we react to having too much choice. They set up a table full of jams in a grocery store.
I believe
some
that.
with 24 samples and some with just 6. And this is pretty interesting. Although shoppers were more likely to stop and peruse the table that had more options, they were less likely to buy anything. Okay, because
I believe that.
The more options, visually it's appealing, but there were so many, they went, I don't know, but if there was just a few. Well, they more recently did a study. This is a little bit more interesting, published by the journal Nature of Human Behavior. They basically gave a set of volunteers a bunch of pictures, some with 6, some with 12, and some with 24s, and they were scenic pictures, almost like something that you could put on a coffee mug or something. And they were asked to make a decision while laying in an MRI machine so that they could measure their brain activity, right? And basically, the results of the scan revealed the brain activity of the participants making the choices was the highest when the subjects only had 12 options to pick from rather than 6 or 24, suggesting that around 12 is the ideal amount of anything, really, to choose from. Too many is not enough, too little is frustrating, but the brain was active when there were 12. Kind of interesting, huh?
Well, I mean, it's strange because, especially when you're talking about food, because I always felt if I was had a restaurant, you keep it simple because you do the one thing right.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree with that.
So it's kind of it's strange because especially like in Mexican restaurants, there are certain ones like if I want fajitas, I know exactly which one to go to in Conroe. If I want queso and margaritas and generally good food, there's another one. And so it's kind of like that. It's kind of like you find the place that has that one thing that you like, and then or they do well.
Yeah, but again, I think you're mentally shortening that menu. You're like, I don't care what else is on the menu. I'm going for that one thing. And you probably are doing that subconsciously. That way you're not avoiding having too many choices.
Like,
that was just an example.
I like strawberry jam. Like, I'm always going for strawberry, dog.
Right? So that is kind of, maybe
Concord
they did that.
grape, get out of my way, dog.
Maybe they did jams on purpose because most people only think of 1 or 2 different flavors.
Well, like,
right? And if you had 24,
there
you're
was
like,
a client of mine.
It's analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis, I should say.
There was a client of mine that back in the day that they did homemade jams, and he's like, "Oh, hey, which one do you want?" I'm like, "Do you have strawberry?" No, I don't need any.
Then I'm good. See, then I think you like less choices. You claim that you liked more, but everything you've indicated here seems
it's
to me
a losing of choice, and I can say like, I had an opportunity, and I said no.
Yeah. Just makes you feel powerful.
Yeah. I like choice though, like especially when you go to like a sandwich shop.
See, there's too many.
I go pirate on that stuff. I'm like, let's just do it. Let's do something crazy. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not afraid of letting someone else tell me what their favorite is and trying that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I don't mind that. Like
I've done that before too.
We'll do that together. We'll go to like.
What if they say I like sweet pickles on this sandwich? What are you gonna do?
Oh man, I'm gonna.
That's my favorite. Exactly, but hey man.
I'm like,
be open-minded.
I knew there was a part of me that absolutely despised you, Andrew. Sweet pickles. What a joke.
Oh,
what a joke.
I love this story. Cartier jewelry can typically cost thousands of dollars, but a 27-year-old man spent under $14 on his luxury earrings from the French brand after discovering a price error. This is pretty funny, man. So this guy, there's only really one reason why I'm reading this. Rodrigo Villarreal, a citizen of Mexico, posted on April 20th via X that he was, while using the bathroom and going down a rabbit hole on Instagram. Wait, hold on. Say that again. he was using the bathroom and going down a rabbit hole on Instagram
Yeah.
when he noticed. Why is that a detail they had to put in this story?
Well, you always go on rabbit holes
on the toilet
while you're on the toilet.
when he discovered apparently 18-karat gold rose Cartier earrings on the jewelry's website. Instead of the current retail price of $11,000, they were marked at 237 pesos, which converts to $13.91. So he snapped up 2 of them bad boys.
Okay.
Well, Cartier realized the mistake and reached out to him and said, hey, man, that was a mistake. We're not going to give you these at this price. We'll offer you some champagne and I believe some of their other leather goods from their store, but we're not giving you these. And he said, no, you got to abide by this price. So they went back and forth, and eventually he won, and he kept those earrings, spending like $25 on them. What would you do in his case? Are you going to fight and keep it, or are you going to be like, man, you know what? This is a mistake. Well, all right, guys, I get it.
I've actually been in this scenario before for buying a monitor. It was like a $1,500 monitor, and it was on the website for like $180. And
were you on the toilet when you saw this? Like
I might have been
Rodrigo Villarreal.
I might have been.
I just can't believe that as I'm reading this story. I'm like, wait, they had to put this.
No, I was part of a forum online that would post like really good prices for computer parts.
Yeah.
And it was like a top of the line, like one of those ultra wide monitors that I don't know how many inches it was, but it was like 4K, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I don't even need that, but that's such a ridiculous price. Like I'm kind of just want to get it. So I ordered it, and then within like 2 hours they called me. Like they called me, and they're like, "Oh, that was a pricing error." I'm like, "Well, I still put the order in, and it said confirmed." And they were like, "Well, manufacturing's not gonna be able to process this for quite some time. So do you like? You're probably going to wait like a year and a half." I was like,
right,
yeah. I liked it. I was like, I kind of was.
That's playing the long game. That's when you say, "I got time."
And I
called their bluff.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. But I was like, I really don't care. I just saw it and it looked cool. And
so you didn't get it, huh?
I know. I was like, I don't.
I think I would. I'd like to think.
But for $11,000,
2 of them.
For 2 of them, that's kind of different. That's like
for 237 pesos.
That's like buying a car and then be like, oh hey, you're gonna sell me this car. And
so that happened to me one time. I bought a car in New Braunfels. And I drove back up to Fort Worth and had the car for like a day or 2. And I got a call from the salesman said, "Hey, just want to let you know we made a mistake on the paperwork." And I'm like, okay. He said, "Yeah, actually, the trade-in of your previous vehicle, we gave you $600 too much. So we're going to need for you to write me a check, or us a check for $600. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen, dude. Because they were already it was a really, really good deal on the vehicle that I'd purchased. So they were trying to make up for it by screwing me on the trade-in value. So I was already getting screwed. And I said, no, man, I'm not going to write you a check for $600 on a car you already screwed me on. He said, well, then I guess you're just going to have to bring the truck back. And I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Hung up the phone. Guess who called back about 30 minutes later? Never mind, you can just keep it. Well, I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay you $600 for a mistake that you guys made. And I didn't see it.
At least they tried.
Yeah, they tried. You can't blame them for that. I did have a story about a marathon runner here, but it won't pull up because the internet is not working. But I thought this was an interesting story. A Texas woman has been arrested after her son's alleged bully was sent to the hospital after having consumed an intentionally mixed sports drink. So this is pretty interesting. Jennifer Lynn Rossi, 45, mixed lemon, salt, and vinegar into a sports drink bottle to prevent her son's drink from being stolen at school by the other students. So apparently what was going on is her son was getting bullied, and this kid was, hey, give me your drink. He went home and told his mom about it, so she said, well, you know what we're going to do, son? We're going to make us up a little concoction here and get your bully. The problem is the kid went to school and just got the 10-year-old and just gave it to the kid. And the kid drank it and got sick, and then called the parents and found out what went on. I think she has good intentions here, but here's where they went wrong. They needed to come up with something that the kid liked or he pretended to like.
That's too situational. You want
Right.
to. You have to.
And he
create
had
the
to been able to
situation.
drink it. So where the other bully came in, but if you mix something up and then the kid goes, "Here, have it," well, it's no longer.
No, I think that kid was the smart one in the whole group. You know why?
Why is that?
Because later that week or 2 weeks after the bully gets well, he can come up to that kid and be like, "I did that on purpose."
Yeah.
So imagine what else I can do on purpose.
I'm crazy. I'm insane.
So there you go. That's how you get them.
Well, it says, although lemon, salt, and vinegar are non-toxic, the incident resulted in the victim being hospitalized for additional medical monitoring, authorities said. And the student was eventually discharged.
So what was in it?
Yeah, it was lemon, vinegar, and salt. Basically, it's just something that tastes nasty.
Chug it?
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as that thing hits your lips, aren't you, or even the smell test, you're going to go, I'm not drinking this.
That's one thing I love about certain people when they face challenging scenarios is how they overreact. And it's kind of like, I would have been like, oh, gross. And then my day would have started after that. Like,
or the
on.
bully was so into the bit of being a bully. Think about this. That he's like, I got to clear this thing so this kid doesn't have anything else to drink. And he just chugging it, staring him deep in his eyes. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And he's going, God, what do you drink? This is terrible.
I like it.
Got sick. Well, yeah, she is now in trouble. In trouble. This is a fascinating story, too. A Michigan woman found living inside of a rooftop store sign has a desk and a coffee maker. This is really funny. Contractors curious about an extension cord on the roof of a Michigan grocery store made a startling discovery. A 34-year-old woman was living inside the business sign with enough space for a computer, a printer, and a coffee maker. So this is pretty funny. It's one of these strip mall centers that has a big triangle type sign at the top or the entrance, and it was vacant. It's open. And there's a door that allows you to get up into that area. I guess it's like attic space. She was living in there, they said, for up to almost a year.
I like it.
I mean,
well, it's the same thing with squatters, right?
That's where I was going. How is this any different from squatters? And I guess it's because it's commercial as opposed to residential.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, why didn't she just put her foot down and say, no, you're not going to.
I think my favorite squatting story is that dude with the hotel thing. That's probably one of the coolest ones I ever heard because he lived there for like 5 years.
Yes, 5 years. And they just said, forget it. We're not even going to argue with you.
Think about that.
I know. And he messed it up because he tried to start charging rent to other tenants saying that he owned the building. That was funny.
I mean,
so anyway, it says
I think that would be a great segment we should do on the show is when you got a sweet deal going. Something like that. Like, because those are real stories.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy, if Wednesdays don't know, like a while back, like half a year ago,
Probably, yeah.
We talked about this young man in New York at some, I would say, like pretty nice hotel.
The New Yorker.
Yeah, the New Yorker hotel. And he lived there for free because of some loophole in
that is correct.
The contract. Like he's now a tenant, but it's a hotel. So was it like 29 days?
It was an old law that said if you stayed overnight in any sort of public building like that, that technically the owner had to offer you a lease of some sort. And he was not offered that. And so he took him to court, and they just said, we don't want to fight this here. Just keep staying in the room.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So he stayed in this room for 5 years.
Correct.
And he did some other shenanigans and got kicked out because of it.
Because he overplayed his hand.
But I don't understand why you would ever overplay anything. I've been like, I got a free place to stay.
Yeah. Well, in this case, this lady was not overplaying her hand. It says the Family Fair store is in a retail strip mall, has a triangle-shaped sign at the top of the building. The structure is roughly 5 feet wide and 8 feet high. That's a pretty nice little thing she's got going on. There was some flooring laying down, she said. She had her clothing, a Keurig coffee maker, a printer, and a computer, things you'd have in your own home, man. But I love that they found her because there was an extension cord that she had run up there. But saying they don't know how she was getting up into there because there's no sign of a ladder. Now, there is a door to enter, but there's no ladder. So they have no idea yet. They're thinking she may have crawled up some other adjacent building and scurried across the roof and jumped onto the building. That's the only thing I can think of doing was that parkour.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
Crazy.
Like a new version of a troll under the bridge.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Except she's
in the attic.
Above the bridge, in a way.
She's an attic bird.
My previous story finally loaded. So the winner of the Southern California Marathon was disqualified. We do these every now and again, but this is kind of interesting. After the race, organizers said he took water from his father during the run. So apparently there's rules that you cannot take water or substances from anybody else outside of the designated areas.
Yeah, he cheated.
And he ran it in like 2 hours and 24 minutes and 54 seconds. And his dad was riding along a bicycle next to him, handing him the water he got to drink. So I guess the thinking here is that water could be the Panera Bread Surge Lemonade,
Yeah, I like that.
Which by the way,
they're stopping.
They're
it.
discontinuing that. That's right.
What I love about that story with the Surge water or whatever is they're discontinuing it not in like today.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's in like a year or something.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, hey, we're not going to, like, we already bought all this stuff to make it.
If you're really concerned about health and people dying from it to the point where you have to discontinue it, you think you would do it right away. Nah, we're going to give it a year.
I don't know.
It's kind of like the road signs where you can no longer put funny messages on them, because it could be potentially distracting to drivers. We're going to take that away in 2 years.
And we're going to leave these billboards up.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
so crack some jokes.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about just the other billboards. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know, but yeah, I was not aware. And you know that if he's a competitive runner and his dad's a supporter, they had to have known that. So it does make you wonder if they gave him a little bit of a shot of some goodies there in his hydration water, whatever. Hydro flask, that's what I'm trying to say. All right, I got 2 quick hits here at the end of the show. KFC has won a lawsuit against 3 Chinese companies charged with spreading rumors that the fast food chain uses mutated chickens with extra limbs.
I like it. Makes sense.
A Shanghai court has fined 3 tech firms, including 3 that I'm not going to say the name of, for damaging KFC's reputation by posting the rumors on their social messaging accounts. And I have pictures of these, quote, mutated chickens, and man, it is wild looking. Essentially, these look like chickens with 4 legs, 6 wings, and no feathers. I don't know why these tech companies would have benefited from putting out these rumors. The KFC is using this, but it is kind of effective if you think about it. You get, twice as much meat. Look at all them wings on that chicken. Actually, I guess that would be 3 times as much chicken wings. It doesn't really look real.
No.
It's really wild looking, man, and kind of disturbing. I think I'm going to use that as the thumbnail for this episode, by the way. Would you be willing to eat some wings if you knew it came from a genetically mutated 6-wing chicken dick?
I mean,
chicken dick. I just said chicken dick.
If it was told to me, I'd be like, but like if you never told me, I probably wouldn't care. Isn't that how it usually goes?
I guess so, yeah. If you didn't know, ignorance is bliss. The firms have been ordered to pay KFC a combined $600,000.
Let me ask you this.
No, 600,000 yen, or $91,000. Well, that's a big discrepancy.
Well, like, have you been to Buffalo Wild Wings in a while?
Yeah, I mean,
their wings are crap. Like the quality of the wing.
But if you're thinking about sponsoring Buffalo Wild Wings, we love you.
No, I'm
sponsor
about,
or donate today.
I'm talking about a concerned patron who enjoys Buffalo Wild Wings.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know what it is, but like their wings are just terrible. The quality of the wing.
So the
sauce is fine.
They're not my favorite.
Well, you know what I'm talking about? Like the quality of the wing, wherever they buy their wings. Where's your favorite wing place?
I know this is not probably popular to say. I like Hooters, man. Hooters has good wings.
Their sauce is too wet.
Although, yeah, sometimes it does taste a little vinegary to me.
That's too wet.
But,
242 Grill is pretty good over in 242.
There was a place I used to go to years ago. It's called Wingstop. I mean,
there's a wing, OMG Wings down the road. It's supposed to be really good.
Do they use 6-wing chickens
maybe,
there?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they use other things than chicken. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I need options, right?
Right, you do. Oh, all right. Here, the last quick hit of the story. Were you aware that Doug Christie? Do you know who Doug Christie is? The former NBA basketball player. He played for the Sacramento Kings back in the 2000s. Well, his wife apparently was one of these ladies that went on the Basketball Wives shows.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently, when he would go on the road and come back, she would weigh his testicles before he left and when he got back to make sure that he was faithful.
I like it. I think my ex did that a couple times without me knowing.
Because they have a certain amount of weight. Usually they're full. If they've been emptied, that usually means after intercourse. Then they're kind of smaller and they're usually emptier. They have kind of a shriveled up.
I like it.
Jeez. I'm not going to go into any more detail, but I cannot believe that
what I like about this kind of stuff.
It can't be real. This cannot be real.
What I love about these kind of things is, at first you're kind of like, "What? This is weird. This is so strange." But like 2 years later, it's part of the procedure. It's like, "Oh, hey, we're going on a 5-day road game."
Yeah, hold on, guys. I got to let the old lady weigh my nuts.
Yeah,
hold on.
No. What I love is
wait, what's going on?
The process would be improved. So that she'd probably go to one of those camera things, the 360 cameras, and it goes around you. It's like, here, put it on. We gotta get the 360, and then we gotta get the weight machine.
Oh
I like
my gosh.
it. I like it.
She sounds lovely. All right, guys, that is all we've got time for today. Thank you for joining us. Again, like, share, subscribe. Leave us a comment or a review on any of our, socials. Leave them on Facebook. Apple, I think, will let you review. Just leave it if you're so inclined. Until next week, onesies. Yeah. Dick, we'll see you later, bud.
Yeah, see you later, boy.